Wahoo, hey, it's Learn to Dance Day. Today I'm going to tell you about, and maybe next week I'm going to show you about how to dance and why knowing how to dance is important on your bike. And I don't really mean dance. I'm not going to be teaching the two-step or the whatever. Maybe I will teach you the funky chicken. But here's why I talk about learning how to dance. I talk about it because when I'm trying to teach people to move their bodies right, to be able to work well on the bike, most people, almost everybody can't do it, except the people who can, turns out that they're dancers. So it's about learning how to dance and why you can't do it. If you live in Western countries, we have learned that dancing is embarrassing. Dancing is wrong. You try and dance and people will tell you, you can't dance. You're not good enough to dance. You suck when you try and dance. You shouldn't be dancing. And we get embarrassed when we move like that. And worse than that, if you move in a way that allows your hips to move, or somebody might think you're dancing, and you're a guy, somebody's going to say, you walk like a girl. And what can be more embarrassing for a boy to be told he walks like a girl? Yeah, right. Have you ever seen the world champion soccer players? I'd love to be able to play soccer like a girl. But regardless of that, people get awfully embarrassed. And they move in a way to make sure that nobody thinks that they're dancing, which means you lock your hips to your shoulders move, your shoulders move, your shoulders move, your hips move. You got a board connected between the two, and you don't know how to move your hips in a way that allows your body to move freely. Really, I mean teaching you how not to dance, because here's the thing. Every baby that's born, everybody who's 5 years old absolutely knows how to dance, knows how to move their body in a way where they're dancing. And then you spend your whole life learning that that's embarrassing, that you can't dance, you shouldn't move that way. Somebody's ridiculing, making fun, pointing at you, you suck when you dance. Leave that to the professionals. And even if you're a professional dancer, you have to do auditions. And you might not make the audition. You might be a fantastic dancer, but you're not good enough. And so we learn not to dance. You spent your whole life learning not to dance. Because you've spent your whole life learning how to not dance, you've also spent your whole life learning how to not move your body right. You've learned how to move your body stiff. You've learned how to lock your hips up. You've learned how to not use your core muscles when you're moving. And learning how to not use your body effectively to ride a bike, or to play soccer, or to play football, or to run, or to speed walk, or the list goes on. There's been some really cool brain science, some studies done on how the brain processes music. They did a really cool study where they went all around the world to lots of different cultures, and they played a series of different musical chords for people, notes in particular order, and asked them to rate how they feel. How do you feel when you hear this? How do you feel when you hear that? And universally, people rated it the same. Think about movie soundtracks. So, you go watch a movie and they got the soundtrack and you're bawling your eyes out because it's really sad, but it's really also sad because of the music that they're playing. Then they went and studied how the brain deals with that sound. Where is it being processed in the brain? And it turns out that it's being processed by the same part of the body that processes movement for displaying emotion. Okay, so you hear music, makes you move, that's dancing. We're hardwired for it. But you've been told all your life that A, dance is bad, B, you suck at dancing, and C, you're embarrassing yourself, your family, and everybody around you, knock it off. That's what you've been told, so you don't dance. So it's really interesting when I coach people, help them learn different body movements and make them more efficient. When it starts to feel like it might be dancing, they get embarrassed. And when they get embarrassed, they lock themselves up. I want you to think about the movie It's a Wonderful Life. At the very end, when they're all helping George Bailey out, and Bert the cop comes and he takes the warrant and he tears it up and he throws it into the basket. And then he turns to sing the Christmas song they're all singing. And he turns and makes this face. He locks his whole body up because he's not a singer. And he's embarrassed. And this is the same thing we do when you try and have a dance-like movement. We get embarrassed and we can't do it. And it's just funny to me how I'm not asking people to dance. I'm really not. I'm asking people to learn how to ride their bike, which requires them to move their bodies in a way that embarrasses them. And I'm not actually asking them to do anything embarrassing. All I'm asking them to do is a movement that resembles dance in their minds. It doesn't resemble dance in anybody else's mind when you're looking at them, but in their mind, in my client's mind, it resembles a dance, and they lock up and they can't do it. So what does this have to do with riding a bike? Well, pretty much everything. You're really riding your bike from your hips. And when you get out of the saddle, you've got to be able to control that bike, moving the handlebars around, moving yourself around. All of that stuff has to be able to happen when you get up out of the saddle. And if you're all locked up between the shoulders and the hips, you can't do that. And you're driving your force from the hips. That all happens around the hips. If you can't use your hips right, you can't ride right. So I get people on their bikes and I teach them how to move their shoulders and their hips separately. And when I have somebody in my class who's a dancer, they can do this. And everybody else can't. But really, brain science has taught us that we're all dancers. And the exercises that I'm teaching people so that they can use their bodies correctly are things that 6-year-olds can do. So next week, I'm going to have a video out showing you some of the things I'm talking about. And we're going to learn to dance. So I want to thank everybody for your patience as we're building this site. Building this is a slow process because, I can get a video out once a week, something like that. And so we're going to be getting into more how-tos, more stories, all sorts of things. But, we kind of started with some stories and we're going to keep on going. And if you like what you see, subscribe. Just click right over here and subscribe and leave some comments for me below and share and tell all your friends and then share some more and subscribe and tell your friends to subscribe and then share some more and leave me some comments.